welcome to another edition of the Hogs Happy Hour. I'm your co-host Blake, as always, joined by Ashton. Ashton, how's it going?
Hey, we're going to have something better to say this week than we did last week concerning Razorback football. Maybe, well, we'll get into that shortly. No.
All right, so put up a good fight, losing by 3, which seems to be a pattern in this game. The past, I think, 4 years now, the game has been decided by 3 points. So, what is your thoughts on this game?
I think as far as a pattern, a buddy of mine had reached out to me and said that when the spread came out for, I think it was 17 and a half, they may have bumped it to 18.
Yeah, I got it in at 18.
So when the spread came out, he told me that he's an LSU fan. That LSU was, as an LSU fan, he was nervous because when you count out a team that heavily, there's only one direction for a team like that to go. And if you go back to the last several matchups, it's always been close, and it doesn't even matter where they're playing at. At LSU, at Arkansas, it doesn't matter. It's always a close game, and it doesn't even matter the caliber, talent of the teams that come into the game. KJ hadn't played well all year, really, and then what do you know? He comes in and just all of a sudden just starts lighting it up. The defense for Arkansas had been lights out, and then all of a sudden, going into the second half on that last touchdown play, they just couldn't stop anything. So Arkansas LSU, always a crazy matchup. I watched the entire game. I gave up on Arkansas even at some point. And then it just out of nowhere, they just kept playing. And for about 2 seconds, as Arkansas always does, they gave me some hope.
Yes, they did. From the true freshman Luke Haas, who is probably going to be an All-American tight end. So go over some stats real quick. We'll start with the defense. Jaheim Thomas led with 13 tackles and had a half sack. Defense as a total had 2 sacks. McLaughlin had 1 interception. To me, the defense played well for about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes, and then it just kind of fell apart. And I think after the first 4 drives, LSU scored on every drive since then. And the last 4 drives of the game, LSU had to run 1 third down play. They would have ran 2, but we jumped off sides on one of them. Surprised. So the last 4 drives, they were just driving down the field, first down, second down, first down, second down, and just drove it down the field. Defense kind of just ran out of gas. We quit putting pressure on Daniels. First couple drives, we put some pressure on him, got him a little rattled. Walcott was involved in a lot of plays and not in a good way. Every penalty or every big play, you always saw Walcott's name. So I think I've read through the lines of Pittman's press conference. There might be a little bit of a change this week regarding the secondary. Might have a freshman playing. Some good news is we do have the 21st ranked rushing defense in the nation, but teams like last year, I think, may start passing it on us, but we shall see.
Yeah. So if you go back to last season, 4 of our 6 losses are by a combined total of 9 points. 9 points, and in those 9 points, you have 4 losses. Now the other 2 losses, Mississippi State just took us to the woodshed. Alabama, things just didn't go our way. They beat us pretty handily. But those other 4 losses, you got 9 points, 4 losses. This season already, the trend, you've already got 2 losses, a combined 10 points in those 2 losses. All right. At some point, it feel like as a Razorback fan that something just has to bounce your way. And Walcott, and then some folks even said it looked like that Singletary looked like a boy among men out there. Singletary was just getting bullied by Neighbors and by Thomas, and course, Walcott, you have depth in the secondary, you have depth on defense. The defensive line did its job, although you'd like to see a little bit more pressure there in the second half. Jaheim Thomas is an absolute dog at linebacker.
Yep.
And Jalen Braxton, what
Yep.
can you say about the kid? He's a true freshman
Yep.
playing at such a high level. Now, is he playing perfect? No, absolutely not. But, boy, he was tested early in that game.
Yeah. Yeah. Pittman said Braxton, he said his first game, he just had jitters. I guess every true freshman will have jitters their first game. But he said he's starting to settle in a little bit. So he should see some more playing time. And he's from that area, so it's a big game for him this weekend.
And I'll say this. Say what you want to about the guy, but Hudson Clark has been where he needs to be so far this season. He's made some big tackles. Also, Dwight McLaughlin picking right back up where he was at last year. Big interception. We just, again, go look at the loss. Arkansas's offense, when it matters, right? When it matters. We're not talking about the overall 31 points. But when it matters, you've got to be able to do more than just put up field goals. Now, when it didn't really matter, you score touchdowns. How can we score a touchdown on such just the odds were stacked against us? How does Luke Hogs get so wide open on busted coverage, right? But then we get down to the 1 yard line and you can't score.
Yeah.
To me, that just doesn't make any sense. I think the offense moved up to an overall rank of 76, though I think we moved up 6 places, 5. I don't remember.
Yeah, it moved up a little bit, but not. I mean, it's still.
But in case anybody's wondering, as far as overall offense in the SEC, Arkansas ranks in the bottom 3 of the SEC. We are only beating, believe it or not, this is crazy. We are the only 2 teams that are worse than us are from the state of Alabama, and that's Auburn and Alabama.
Yeah, and Auburn looked pretty bad. So I hope people watching Arkansas don't think that we look like Auburn.
But I'll tell you this. Here's some hope for us. LSU has the number 1 ranked offense in the SEC, and look at the scoreboard. We almost beat them in their own stadium against the number 1 ranked offense in the SEC.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to the offensive side of the ball. Ashton, I'm going to ask you a trivia question. You may know this. Do you know who our 3rd leading rusher was in the game?
Our 3rd leading rusher. 3rd leading rusher. Was our leading rusher, was it Dubinion?
Yeah, Dubinion was 1.
And then you had KJ, number 2.
KJ was 2.
And so the 3rd leading rusher, boy, I'm going to say it's either AJ or Dominic.
It was Max Fletcher.
Lord have mercy.
Yes. AJ Green had 3 carries for 0 yards. And let me find it here. And Dominique had 3 yards on 2 carries. So combined, they had 3 yards. Or Max Fletcher had 8 yards.
Yeah, so it looks like to me that I think Sam Pittman wants desperately for Rashad Dubinion to be the guy. Mm-hmm. If it's not going to be Raheem Sanders, it's going to have to be Dubinion, and I think he proved that he's the best option. AJ Green has shown flashes. Dominic Johnson, I don't know if it's just that he's just not getting enough carries.
It's those knee. To me, it's those knee surgeries. He's had 2 torn ACLs. That's one's hard enough to come back from, So
and what I was impressed with wasn't so much Dominion's running game. His catching out of the backfield were big for us. We had a few plays, one play in particular that was massive for him to catch in the run after catch. So yeah, Dubinion's got to be the guy, but Max Fletcher being the 3rd leading rusher for us in that game just goes to show you that sometimes depth isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah. And how about that fake field goal where we fake it and we get it, but the field goal that we end up kicking is further back than what it would have been. So
I don't know. All I can say is this: Razorback football.
I mean, it was.
Exactly.
I mean, we were jumping up and down when we got the first down, and then we didn't do nothing with
Well,
it.
I tell you, it just I felt like we were so after we did that, right? We were on such a high, but then I felt like I know we scored 31 points. So I'm sounding like a down like a Debbie Down. I'm not. I think towards the end, I think that Coach Enos called a good game towards the end. But boy, when, in that situation, I don't know what in the world. There
Mm-hmm.
was no fluidity. We were so out of sync on those
Mm-hmm.
next few plays. When you go for a play like that, you know we've talked about it many a times. What do you do? What's the next move?
Home
Man,
run.
take a deep shot,
Yeah,
and
take it to the end zone. Yeah.
we take deep shots, but it's like at the most odd times
Mm-hmm.
when it doesn't make a lot of sense. So
Another thing that was disappointing, I'm sure you pointed this out, was our first. We had it at the goal line. I think it was third and goal. Might have been fourth down. I don't quite remember. We lined up under center. Kind of how the Eagles line up. To kind of push the quarterback in the end zone. But we had a false start, but we ran the play, and it was a handoff to I think to Johnson. It was better. I'd like to see him under center, but just let KJ go.
yeah,
Go under center.
at this point, if he's under center, if he's not running the ball, let's just ditch the play. Okay,
Yep.
let's
Mm-hmm.
just trash it. Enough with the dead tee. The dead tee is awful. Uh, let's put KJ. If you're going to put him under center from the half-yard line, move the two tight ends and bring the two tight ends underneath, but right behind him, drive him into the end zone. But my goodness, stop with. You know what I can't stand? This is what's driving me crazy about this under center. So when we get down there on the half-yard line, I can't stand it when KJ stands up and he turns and he stares at the sideline like we don't know what the play is.
Yeah.
Like, do we know the play or do we not know the play? If we know the play, let's get under center and run it. But instead, we stand there and we wait for a delay. Number one, a delay of game penalty. Our offensive lineman to jump. Uh, quit sitting there and waiting for something bad to happen. Run the play.
Yes.
So there's. I'm
Yes.
going to get off my soapbox on
Yeah.
that.
All right. So I'm gonna pose the question of: is there hope on the horizon? And I'm going to say yes with the offense because we said earlier in the preseason that Enos's offense thrives on tight end play, and I think Haas is starting to develop into that star tight end. He had 116 yards on 6 catches, 2 touchdowns. So, and you notice when the tight end was involved, the offense kind of moved down the field a little bit. It was a little bit more, wasn't as difficult as it was in the first half. So, I I do think it's just probably me drinking the Kool Aid, but I do think LSU is probably the toughest team that we will play, and we lost by 3 to them at on the road at night in Baton Rouge. So every game here on out should be winnable. Not going to say we're going to win, but we should be. We should be a 4-quarter game the rest of the way.
Yeah. So my personal opinion about hope being on the horizon. So Arkansas Razorback fans, our dreams are going to be crushed on Saturday, or we're going to walk away from that game going, we can win. We can still win 7 or 8 games. Um, and I said it from the very beginning. I've said 9 games was the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
8 games is what you in reality want because you wanted to have success building on recruiting, right? If you only win 7, if you go 7-5, okay, at this point 7-5. But if you only win 6,
Yeah.
with arguably the most experienced, best quarterback in the SEC,
Yeah.
you failed as a staff.
And this is probably Pittman's talent wise his best team. Like
Oh, absolutely.
top to bottom.
I mean, let's be real. The receivers, they catch everything you throw at them. The only one who really drops the football seems to be Jaden Wilson. Although he's showed that he can catch the ball. I wish we could get. I'll say it again. Isaiah Satania on the field. He's talented. He can take it to the house at any moment on a punt. Why not get him in the slot? Let him try to run away from a matchup against a outside linebacker.
Yeah.
Why not run him right down the? I don't know. I just
Well, something I noticed in the game was they're playing Tesla now only in the slot. Okay, he used to switch from outside the slot, but now he's in the slot, which I think is his spot. And Pittman in his press conferences said that Satania has been practicing more, and they have a few plays in for him this week.
Well, we need to
So
have more than a few plays in for him. We need to have a
makes
lot of
me
plays.
think just a little preview Texas A&M. They kind of struggle with the deep pass. Makes me wonder if they're just going to dial it up deep because KJ throws a pretty good deep ball. That's probably his strength is throwing it deep. But
Yeah, so Texas A&M, they're the number 2 ranked defense in the SEC. Um, Arkansas dropped considerably down the list after facing LSU, which is what I think we all expected that. In fact, I was utterly shocked that we were able to really, with the exception of that last play, the first half, we manhandled LSU's our offense,
yep.
and then it just all fell apart. So yeah, we dropped down, and I think that was expected. We hadn't really played anybody that's really tested us. BYU is what it is. We you can't have you're not going to win a game having 14, 15 penalties. It's just not going to happen. Texas A&M, they're good. I mean, they're only giving up 270 yards a game. That's pretty impressive. They've only given up 650 yards of passing this year. Are they susceptible to the deep ball? I don't know. I'm probably.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Here's where I think it is. The matchup is going to be Wigman's. I don't know if you know this, but Wigman's out for the season.
Yep.
So Texas A&M has Max Johnson. Who's your backup quarterback behind Max Johnson?
I couldn't tell you.
I couldn't tell you either.
Yeah.
And so if Max Johnson, if he comes into the game, and he may come in and just be lights out. Who knows? He was lights out the other day in his first 7 passes, and then I think he just came back to earth a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's say he comes in, he struggles against Arkansas. Who do you go to if you're Texas A&M?
Yeah. I don't know.
So I think depth wise, I think the odds are in our favor. However, I'm going to tell you this: Texas A&M's defensive line is the real deal, and we all knew it eventually was going to happen. You can't just keep getting 5 stars and 5 stars and 5 stars and not have some talent. They do. They've got talent, and they've got 2 receivers that can go get the football.
Yep.
Now, let's be clear on something. These 2 receivers for Texas A&M, they are not Malik Neighbors and they are not Brian Thomas Jr., but they are talented.
Yeah, Anais Smith, I think he's been in college for 7 years now. I mean, it seems like he's always there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a second leading receiver. Evan Stewart, who's pretty good. He has 22 catches on the year for 307 yards and 3 touchdowns. Anais Smith has 272 yards. Noah Thomas leads the team with 4 touchdown catches, and they have the 17th ranked scoring offense in the nation. So it's pretty good. 4 games into the season. So here's the thing I don't like. Arkansas fans, every time we play Bobby Petrino, it's Arkansas versus Bobby Petrino. I think it's time to just give it up. Okay, I don't. What he did was wrong, and that's fine. But it's been over 10 years now since all that's happened. We beat them last year. I mean, I hate that they're pinning this Arkansas versus Bobby P. But at some point, we just got to give it up and not have a grudge.
Yeah. It is what it is. Bobby P is one of the best offensive or football minds in college football, without a doubt. We all he made some bad choices that hurt Arkansas in the long run, and I think we're still paying for it a little bit.
Yeah.
And but it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I hope the guy doesn't have success. I hope he learned from it, and I hope he's successful. I hope when we all make mistakes, we hope we all learn from it. Bobby P can call plays. He's good at what he does. He was, he almost came to Arkansas last year and beat us with Missouri State.
Yeah, if it wasn't for a punt return, that would have been bad.
So he can coach college football. I don't think he'll be an OC very long. He'll be a head coach eventually somewhere. Maybe not after this year.
Mm-hmm.
A&M's going to have a really good year, I think, before that happens. So that being said, I don't think it's Arkansas versus Bobby P. I think it's Arkansas needs to finally beat Texas A&M
Mm-hmm.
and
I
do
think
it.
we're 1 for 10. I think or
Yeah,
1 for 9. Something. It's
and just like
that.
LSU, this game is always close.
Yeah.
2-point game last year, if
Yep.
I'm not mistaken.
Something weird always happens. And it always seems to happen to Arkansas. Just like last year, we were dominating them, and then KJ wants to go flying through the air and turn that. I mean, it turned the whole season around if you think about it, because
Yeah.
we just never recovered from that. Just it really took a couple games to get back to playing Razorback
The
football.
next two games after Arkansas got beat by A&M, we got throttled.
Mm-hmm.
We got throttled by Alabama and throttled by Mississippi State.
Yeah.
So this matters.
Now with Max Johnson, he's nothing new to Arkansas. He was the quarterback last year when we played. So, Arkansas does have experience against him. So it's he is the backup. I mean, to me, just based off of last week, first half to second half, Max Johnson looked like the better quarterback. So maybe
Oh
maybe
yeah,
not.
definitely.
Maybe he's just not a good, a practice quarterback. He doesn't look good in practice, but second half he
He was
looked pretty
throwing some
good.
dimes, man. He
Mm-hmm.
was putting it on the money.
Yeah. And he's not a quarterback that will stretch the field. He's not going to throw it 40, 50 yards down the field. He's more of a dink and dunk type of quarterback. So, maybe they'll do some check downs and
He's
they'll
a
try
big dude. He's a
to do it.
big guy.
He is big, and his father was Brad Johnson, so he's got um, Super Bowl champion
He's got
with the,
football in his blood, that's for sure.
with the Buccaneers. All right, their defense. They have 13 sacks on the year. Shamar Turner has 3. Edgerton Cooper leads the team with 24 tackles, and he also has 2 sacks. What was surprising is they only have 1 interception all year. To me, it's a solid, maybe just a tad bit underrated defense.
Mm-hmm.
They rank 14th in total defense in all of college football. So it's not they lost to Miami, which, it happened. But I think if the offense could kind of turn it around, this A&M team's pretty solid.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's
This is you beat A&M. Let's be real. All only thing I can think of is you beat a bunch of 5-star recruits. Yeah, man. I take a little bit of pride in that myself. If I could go in and win this game, definitely. This will change. I think the LSU game changed our mindset. We can win. Our Daubers were down against BYU,
Right.
and there's a lot of questions. Coach Pittman was frustrated, removed Twitter, and he admitted that he didn't want to see the negative comments. And I get that, but I was curious to see how we respond against LSU. Man, did we respond? We got kicked in the teeth in the second half a few times, and we just came right back and kicked them in the teeth again. We made LSU earn it.
Yeah,
Only thing I wish I would have seen is us not let them run the clock out. But
yeah,
I'm excited for this game.
that was a Pittman. He said in his press conference he had more hope in blocking a field goal than he did, letting them score and us drive down the field. But people want to get on Pittman about those timeouts. I think KJ called 2 of them. It's not. I'm sure Pittman wanted to save them, but KJ's the one that called, I think, 2 of those second half timeouts.
But make no mistake, Blake, I personally have hope. I think we can win this game. I picked us to lose last week. I'm not picking us to lose this week.
Yeah, and the reports at practice, it's been a very energized practice. The guys they're not down. I think the loss kind of inspired them a little bit. It showed them that they can play with the big boys.
Right.
LSU, like we said, LSU's, as it looks now, I know Georgia's number 1, but LSU looks like the best team in the SEC.
Right.
And we went toe to toe. All right. Prediction time. Now, you want me to go first or you go first?
I want you to go first.
All right. So last year, Cam Little doinked a field goal off the upright, and I think Cam Little gets a little bit of revenge this year. I got Arkansas 30, A&M 27.
Man, I think you're spot on. I think again, you're looking at another close football game. I think it's going to be a more of a 38-35
Okay.
Arkansas.
Yep.
I think it's going to be a little bit high. Well, you had 40-37. I think you're
Well,
right
30.
there.
Yeah, I got 30 27.
30-27. So I
Yep.
went a little higher
Yep.
with the scoring. 38-35.
Yep.
I think it comes down to a shootout at the end. Depend again. This all depends. I think it depends on how well Max Johnson plays. If he plays like he did against Auburn the other day, then I think it's a shootout. If KJ plays the way he did against LSU, it's going
Oh,
to be
and
high scoring
there's
for you.
one thing I'm surprised we're 28 minutes into this we have not mentioned. Reports are Rocket will play as long as the swelling, stays down. So
Yeah, here's the deal. After I read the as long as swelling stays down,
mhm.
I'm not going to be overly optimistic.
Mhm.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I don't. In my opinion, I don't think he'll start. I think he'll get five to eight carries. I mean, I don't expect him to be a workload because he's coming off of seems a serious knee injury. Again, we don't know what happened, but he seems like he will be available on Saturday.
Hmm. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I hope he is, but I don't know. I'm not convinced just yet.
Yep. All right. So we both have the Hogs win. Now, if the Hogs win, I was telling Ashton this. If the Hogs win, we have a chance to win at least one of the next two.
Yeah,
Okay. If we lose, we have no shot at
right.
winning the next two. I mean, it's all football is all about momentum. So if we have momentum going into Ole Miss, which will be a night game at Ole Miss, so. But if we lose, I don't see us winning until Mississippi State.
I couldn't agree more. If we win this week, well, I take my chances going down to Ole Miss,
Yep.
giving us a shot because we again there are three teams that we always play tough. We always play LSU tough. We always play A&M tough, and for whatever reason, we've had a lot of success against Ole Miss.
Yeah,
So
we
I'll
last
take our
year
chances.
last year was very surprising against Ole Miss. I mean, we blew them out. I mean, the score was a little bit closer than what the game was, but I mean, we just dominated them.
Hmm.
All right, so some other Razorback news. Like we said, Ole Miss next week is slated for a 6:30 kickoff on the SEC network. So play another night road game, which SEC seems to love to put us at. So we'll be looking forward to that. Just Hudson Clark is a Campbell Trophy semifinalist. If you don't know what that is like the academic Heisman. So shout out to him for
Yeah, hey man,
winning that.
I think we really have in the past have hated on this guy a little
Mhm.
bit. I think he has really excelled and become a leader on the football field. So shout out to him. Apparently, not only is he a great leader on the football field, seems to be a great leader in the classroom. He's probably going to be a great leader if he doesn't play professional football, wherever he chooses to professionally, whatever he chooses to do. He's going to have a lot of success. So shout out to him, big time.
Yeah, yeah. Coming from a walk on, and he that had that game with three picks, kind of turned his life around. So he was put on scholarship. So he's like the ultimate. I mean, the ultimate Razorback. I mean, he's walked on, got a scholarship, works hard. He's changed positions to where he's just plays safety now. So hopefully he makes it to the next level, but if not, he'll be very successful wherever he goes. Also, the women's volleyball team is ranked 14th in the nation. They had a couple big wins this past week. So
Did they? Were they? I could be wrong. Were they against A&M this past weekend?
yeah, yeah,
They were.
On Sunday or Monday, one of them. Also, the soccer team too. It's the girls' soccer team is doing really well. They're ranked in the top. I want to say 15 maybe. So they're doing good.
Yeah,
They only
I was watching the. I don't remember what I was watching. Maybe an NFL game, and I saw the stats. Some of the stats going across the bottom of the screen. Maybe it was. I can't remember if it was that or college football game. And I saw Arkansas, and I saw the number 14. I saw or something down there, and I was like, who in the world? And I've come to figure out. So I know in volleyball you play. I guess it's a best of 3 sets, if I'm
Yeah,
not.
he played
Yeah.
sets. Yeah.
And then for our women's soccer team, I think everything sports wise at Arkansas, regardless of winning a national championship, I think Hunter Yurachek has done such a phenomenal job finding us good leadership for our sports programs.
Yeah. Yeah, he's always touted as one of the top athletic directors in the nation. So we may hate on him sometimes, but he has done a great job. Also, some rules changes in basketball has allowed basketball to have 5 assistant on court coaches. So Eric Musselman has added Todd Lee, his son Michael Musselman, and Razorback, you can say legend or pretty good player Ronnie Brewer to his staff. He joins Keith Smart and Anthony Ruda as assistant coaches. Smart, Ruda, and Michael Musselman are the off-campus recruiters, along with Eric Musselman.
Okay. And from everything that I've heard, or Coach Musselman has said about his son, who's really kind of been at the head of the recruiting coordinating. I mean, look, the proof's in the pudding, right?
Yep.
Look at the guys that have come to the University of Arkansas. Look at the guys who are still continuing to come to the University of Arkansas. Arkansas Razorback basketball, since Eric Musselman has come to campus, has been back on the map. The dude just gets the job done, and let's not forget, me and you were talking about it earlier. Big crystal ball was dropped today
Yep.
for, I believe, Isaiah Elohim.
Yeah, Isaiah Elohim.
Big 4-star recruit, 6'5", a small forward, and he has a lot of big time offers.
Mhm.
And there's also another young man. I believe that his name is Trey Johnson, 5-star recruit out of the Link Academy.
Yep.
And Arkansas seems to have a pipeline at this point to the Link Academy out of Missouri.
Yep.
And we got Jordan Walsh. I mentioned this last time we had a show. Jordan Walsh. And we have Jalen Shelley. Is it Jalen? I think it's Jalen. Jalen Shelley committed to the Razorbacks recently out of the same academy, and he is teammates with Trey Johnson. Yep. So, Arkansas Razorback basketball, recruiting, sports in general at Arkansas seem to be headed in the right direction. And maybe, let's hope, we can get football headed in the right direction too.
And with Isaiah, he released his top 3 list. It was Arkansas, Kansas, and Villanova, and he said he plans to announce within the next couple of weeks where he will play college basketball at. But he was his teammates with Bronny James in California, so he can play ball. All right, so let's go to the SEC. Last week, I'm just gonna go. We'll just go game by game. Okay, Texas A&M 27, Auburn 10. Any thoughts on that? I know we kind of hit a little bit of it.
Well, I really wasn't really impressed with either team. Max Johnson came in. We've already talked about him. Max Johnson came in and took over for Texas A&M. Auburn, I thought Peyton Thorne would be a little better than what he is. Peyton Thorne can run the football, but I guess he's struggling in the passing game. And then they bring in Robbie Ashford, who just didn't do any better. Robbie Ashford can run faster than a cheetah, but when he throws it, he has no idea where it's going.
Yeah, kind of like a guy we had last year, Hornsby.
Yeah, it's true. Right, Malik Hornsby, who, by the way, was definitely dead set on the fact that he was a quarterback, and he is at Texas State, not starting as a quarterback.
Yeah. Surprise, huh? All right, next was Kentucky 45, Vanderbilt 28. I like Kentucky, but I'm not impressed with them at all this year because the teams they have played, they should be blowing them out, and we should be seeing the second and third stringers, and we have not seen that yet. But we'll see. I know playing at Vandy sometimes is tough, I guess, but I don't know.
Yeah, I thought Kentucky was, when I saw the score, I thought Kentucky was going to, I was going to look back and it was going to be like 45-17. Well, the next thing I know, it's 45-28. And maybe they just took the foot off the gas. They, at the end of the day, you walk away with a win. But AJ Swan, the quarterback for Vanderbilt, ended up slinging the football around for several touchdowns. So
yeah,
I don't really know who Kentucky is at this point.
Yeah, Vandy. It's gonna sound crazy. Vandy's gonna sneak up on one of these East teams and beat them. I mean, somewhere. All right, next we got Alabama, 24, Ole Miss 10. It was a first half was close, and then Bama kind of. I'm not gonna say ran away with it. It's only a 14-point win, but shout out to Bama. They might have things figured out. Don't know.
I will say this. I think there's only one team who had worse play calling than Arkansas, and that's Ole Miss. I did not understand their play calling against Alabama. It just didn't make any sense to me the way they called that game.
Now
Ole Miss will bounce back. I know they will.
Yeah, I watch highlights of that. I wasn't able to watch the game, but is Ole Miss, are they kind of like Arkansas where they struggle to run the ball?
Yeah, Ole Miss is not running the football like they want to run the football. Of course, I don't know why I wanted to say Hudson Card, not Hudson Card. Jackson Dart is definitely wants to run the football. They want to run. Lane Kiffin wants that upbeat, high tempo offense, and sometimes we've seen it with Kendall Briles. Sometimes that can get you in a lot of trouble when you need to stop and think about what play call you need to run. You run a play, and by the time it's run, you shouldn't have run the play.
Yeah.
And so Lane Kiffin just looked just so confused and just looked so disgusted with how Ole Miss played against Alabama. Alabama, shout out to them. What did I say? I said there's no reason why Jalen Milroe should have ever been removed from the starting quarterback.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, he's not great. Let's be real, but he's out of what they have, he's the best. So, and then Florida, they beat Tennessee, but they struggled against Charlotte. They beat them 22-7. I think that was just your typical letdown game with you beat your rival, highly ranked team at home, and it's just every the next week you're just not going to play as good. So, I think Florida. I mean, they still have a shot in the East, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you ask, and as a Razorback fan, I ask the same thing. You want your team to be up against everybody, and that's a hard thing to do. To get hyped up and then come out and play Charlotte the next week. And how about Charlotte's head coach, huh?
Yeah.
How about the wife beater, or not wife beater, but
a hoodie with
I don't know what he was wearing. Yeah.
With no sleeves.
That was wild.
Some people said that was Sam Pittman out there, but said he just looked like he walked out of a elementary PE classroom.
Well, hey now. That's not what I wear on a daily basis in my classroom.
All right, next was a big 4-star sports showdown in Missouri 34, Memphis 27. I was actually surprised that Memphis, the way they kind of competed with Mizzou, but Drinkwitz, he pulled it out. I wish this was played at Memphis like it was supposed to be, but it was played in a neutral site where both end zones were painted with Mizzou colors. So what a neutral site.
No way. Not at Missouri.
Yeah.
I think so. Blake Watson kind of got shut down against Missouri, and I said as Blake Watson goes for Memphis, so goes the team. If you're gonna put it on Seth Hennigan's shoulders, I think the result's going to be that Memphis probably is getting beat by somebody, because I don't think Hennigan is designed to carry the team. I think Blake Watson is the workhorse of that team, and it just didn't go their way. But Hey man, they competed, and you compete with an SEC team who just got done beating Kansas State. Shout, props to
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Mizzou is now in the top 25, so that's shout out to them. Even though we are known to hate on Drinkwitz, but he's got his program going in the right direction. All right, last was the nightcap of South Carolina defeating Mississippi State 37 to 30. There we go. So it's a little bit closer than probably the experts thought, but it's the SEC, so it's always going to be a game.
Yeah. Um, any given weekend, anybody can beat anybody in the SEC. Vanderbilt's normally the team that you kind of just write off. But like you said, they could sneak up and beat anybody. Who knows? I'm glad they're not on our schedule.
Yeah,
To be honest.
yeah, they were this year. We would probably lose to them.
Yeah,
So
just yeah. So for Mississippi State to battle back, South Carolina is better than what the score shows, and they're fortunate to walk away with a victory. I think South Carolina is still a better team than the way they've been playing.
yeah, without Spencer Rattler, I don't know how many games they would win.
Right.
Because he's I
Right.
mean he's carrying that team right now. All right, so we're going to talk about this week's matchups in the SEC. All right, I'm going to go over last week. Okay, I went a perfect 5-0 last week.
Yeah.
Jeez, you should have parlayed that and enjoy some cups of coffee with your winnings. But Ashton got the Alabama game wrong. He believed in Lane Kiffin against Saban, and
Won't do that no more.
so overall in the season, I'm 7-1. Ashton is 6-2. So we're going to dive into our picks for this week. We do have some differences. I'm gonna let you start off with number 22 Florida at Kentucky.
Well, number one, I'm super tired. I've only yawned about 300 times. I have Graham Mertz. I think Florida has been tested more than Kentucky has, and Florida is. I know they're coming off of a victory over Charlotte where they didn't play so well. I think again, you get hyped up for certain matchups, and they're going to bounce back. I think, and play a lot better football against Kentucky, more sound football, and I think it's a close game. I think it's a close game, but I'm going to put my faith in Billy Napier. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I'm going to put my faith in Napier. He has a track record of being a successful head coach. I would take him in Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
But
Sure.
but the issue is this: at Florida, the expectation is national championship or bust every year. I'm an Arkansas fan. I wish I could say that, but that's just not reality. At least not right now. May never be. I don't know.
No.
But I have Florida in a close one, edging out Kentucky.
Yeah, I got Kentucky. I was back and forth. Me and you talked earlier about this game. It's going outside of Texas A&M and Arkansas. I think this is the second best game of the week in the SEC. So my theory is, if it's a toss up, you go with the home team. So that was my theory.
That's fair.
And it's 11 o'clock kickoff, so they're not waiting around all day. They're kicking it off in the morning, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully, the Florida team against Tennessee shows up, and not Charlotte or Utah.
Right.
But we'll see. Florida's kind of inconsistent. But they are ranked. I mean, they are 22nd. So, all right, we've talked about A&M Arkansas. We both got the Hogs. This Georgia Auburn game is interesting to a point of it's their first road game, so we'll see how Carson does on the road. But we saw Auburn play last week, and they're not very good. Now
Auburn is hot garbage.
yes, I say that, and they'll
And
Arkansas
they'll beat
probably,
Arkansas.
probably lose to them.
Yeah, they'll beat that. I
Um,
know. They're not very
but
good.
Georgia is only a 14.5 point favorite.
Well, Blake, being the expert that I am, I have Georgia winning by 28.
Yeah, I can see this being like a coming out party, maybe like a 52-7 type game. I just don't, just basing off athletes versus athletes.
Auburn fans are going to leave this game. This is my prediction. They're going to leave this game questioning why they hired Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, because it's to me, I mean, it's just the quarterback play. They just don't have one, and when you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a football team. All right, going to the next slate. Okay, number 23 ranked, the Fighting Drinkwits at Vanderbilt. I think Mizzou has a huge matchup next week against, I believe, LSU. So I think they're focused on this game, get this game out the way, and they can focus on LSU. So I got Mizzou winning by however many they want.
I agree.
Yep. All right. Number 13 LSU at number 20 Ole Miss. Since you love Ole Miss so much, I'll let you go first.
Well, Blake, after the situation, and I'm calling it a situation because that was horrendous, showing by Ole Miss against Alabama, I have LSU beating a very inconsistent Ole Miss offense. Now, that's not to take anything away from the Ole Miss defense because I think the defense plays very solid. But if you're on the field all game long because your offense is so inconsistent, as Razorback fans, we have seen it. The defense will eventually fold. They will crumble, and I see LSU winning by, I'm going to say by 14.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can. It's going to be between 7 and 14. Ole Miss is going to have that Alabama hangover. Even though Alabama's not Bama this year, it's still the week after playing them. It's tough. All right. Now this next game is very pivotal in the SEC East. Got South Carolina at number 21 Tennessee, and I say that because both of these teams already have a conference loss. So the loser of this will have two, and pretty much out of the SEC East race when they were very highly thought of teams in the preseason. So
Yep.
I'm going with Tennessee. I do not trust the quarterback Milton. I don't trust anything about Tennessee. I do know they're calling it dark mode or something at Tennessee. So they're going fans are going to be really hydrated for this game and juiced up. So I'm just going with the home team. I don't trust Beamer. The only thing they got going for him is Rattler right now, and I just see Tennessee. It's going to be close. I see them pulling off the win and trying to stay in that East race with Georgia.
Um, I think Beamer. I don't something has to go right for Beamer this year. That's just I feel like it always does. He got hot at the end of the last season. Something's going to go right for Beamer this year, and I think this is just the moment. This is the moment where something goes right for South Carolina, and they beat a very inconsistent Joe Milton. And I think we've seen a Tennessee team when they get frustrated, it's almost like they just throw in the towel and they can't do anything. South Carolina's defense has been so very suspect. If the offense is clicking, I think they can put up points on Tennessee. But like I said, we'll see. We'll see. I think you did the smart thing. Take the home team.
Yeah, it's gonna be gonna watch the Hogs at 11, then there'll be a little break, and then watch the South Carolina Tennessee game.
Yeah.
I think all eyes are gonna be on SEC football this week. There's not very many, say, great matchups outside of the SEC this week, so that's all eyes will be on the big old SEC. All right, moving on. All right, you got any quick reaction about last week in college football?
Yes. Colorado's awful.
No, don't you say that. Don't say that.
No. I don't think Colorado's awful. I don't think TCU is who they were. I don't think that they beat a good Nebraska team. I don't know why people thought Nebraska was good, or they're not. Nebraska is not good. Uh, Oregon is on a whole nother level than Colorado. I don't foresee, and here's the deal. Here's what I've said. I don't foresee Colorado ever being on the level that they need to be. Not at Colorado. I think Deion Sanders will leave there in a few years, and he'll go wherever he wants to, probably bigger program, and he'll be successful. But I don't see Colorado ever being what people want it to be, even with Deion Sanders as the head coach.
Yeah,
Um,
Dion in Colorado was the talk of all of college football. They kind of got a taste of their own medicine with all the trash talk. I don't know if you've seen the Oregon football video that was put out, but Shiloh, his other son that plays safety, was saying, I'm going to kill y'all," and he ended up having to go to hospital because he's peeing blood.
yeah.
So he is.
Um,
Um, I think they got a little
there's
bit of
a
their own medicine.
there's a oh I got mistaken. I thought the Utah Oregon State game was tonight. It's tomorrow night.
No, it's tomorrow night.
So the big game for me, there's a name that no one's talking about, um, and that name is, I believe it's Cameron Ward, who is the quarterback for Washington State.
Mhm.
He is just quietly putting together a really good season, and they handled Oregon State.
Yep.
Oregon State made a late push,
Yep.
but Washington State is the last two survivors of the pack over there, and Washington State's good.
Yeah, that was
And then
the
the other
Pac
the
2
other thing that
championship.
the other thing that shocked me, I'm not impressed with them still, but the other thing that shocked me was Ohio State beating Notre Dame. That shocked me. Not
With
saying that they're any
yeah,
better. I don't think they're
with
good.
10 players on the field twice. So
Yeah.
it was
So that's just that's
yeah
my takeaway from
yeah.
football. We talked about the ACC, but overall, as football, I think. Oh, I'm intrigued to see how Kansas plays Texas this week.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in a few seconds. But I think college football. I think with NIL, the interest in college football is increasing. I saw somewhere that viewership in games has increased compared to last year. So I, to me, I know I'm probably in the minority. It's better to watch college football than the NFL. I enjoy it more.
I do too.
Um, I went down. I went down to Texas this past weekend, and it's the exact opposite. They enjoy NFL more than they enjoy college football. So I think it's just your location and your team and everything else. All right, so let's get to our pick 'em for this week. We talk about last week, and
Let's not talk
Ashton,
about
you
last
did
week.
you did awesome. All right, we had a bunch of games to pick through last week. We had, I think, 9 total games. You went a good 5-4. It's above 500. It's a 6th seed in the playoffs. But I went 7-2. So overall, I'm 9-3. Ashton is 6-6. But
I'm a Razorback fan. Of course, I'm 6-6.
you're looking for that Liberty Bowl berth.
Oh man.
All right, so tomorrow night, not tonight. Tomorrow night, number 10 Utah at number 19 Oregon State. Just based off what we saw last week with Oregon State, they may be a tad bit overrated. I just don't. I like you. I really like this Utah team. They're hard nosed. They play good football. So this Pac 12, 10, 2, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be very competitive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think Utah goes in Oregon State and gets the dub, but I think it's going to be a close game. That Utah defense is for real.
And you want to know something? Oregon State is the favorite
Okay,
at minus 3.5.
that's fair. They're the home team. I can
So,
understand that.
yeah, the home team always gets 3 points, so it's really a toss up.
Yeah.
Okay, next is number 8 USC at Colorado. A lot of big name stars are going to be there to support Dion. USC is a 21.5 point favorite, so I think every team Colorado plays, they're going to get that team's best, just based off of they're playing Dion, all the clicks, all the media hype, everything. They, no one wants to lose to Colorado.
I don't care who shows up to the game against USC. USC is going to roll Colorado.
Yep.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I agree, but could be wrong. Could be wrong.
Don't
All
trust
right.
me. I was 5-4 last week. Okay.
Number 11, the Fighting Irish, who had 10 people on the field for 2 plays, and he didn't want to send anybody in because he was afraid of a penalty or something. But, let's not send in an extra defensive tackle. That's just, anyways, that's another conversation. All right, they go to Duke, and this Duke team is, I think, a little underrated. They're playing good football, but I do have the Fighting Irish winning, I think, because if they don't win, they don't have a shot at the playoff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got Duke. I really like their quarterback. I really like their defense. Boy, they just fly to the football. And the reason why I like Duke is after watching Clemson play Florida State, maybe Duke is a lot better than what we realized. They're just not talked about because they're Duke.
Yep.
So maybe if Duke beats Notre Dame, Duke is in the top 10 next week.
Yep. And how about that North Carolina Duke football matchup?
Man, I am excited for that.
I mean, it's usually, they're basketball schools, but their football teams are pretty salty. All right, number 24, Kansas at number 3, Texas. Now, I do have Kansas winning, not because I hate Texas. I just don't. We've seen Alabama play since Texas and realized they're not that great. And then Texas struggled against Wyoming. So I'm pulling it. Okay. Texas is a 17-point favorite. So, if you're in Arkansas, you can go to Bet Saracen and put some money on Kansas plus 17, and we can go enjoy some cups of coffee together. So, but I like Kansas. We played them in the bowl game. So
yeah, they're good. They got a lot coming back. But Devin Neal at running back, Daniels at quarterback. Yeah, they can play. They beat BYU last week, so I don't really. It's hard for me to go against Kansas in this situation. I can assure you of one thing, Blake. If Texas was going to Kansas, I'm probably picking Kansas.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't disagree with your pick of Kansas. I'm just going with the home team. And now this is my turn to go with the home team.
Yeah.
I'm going with Texas. Steve Sarkisian. They can't afford to lose either. They can't afford to lose. If they lose, I think the voters kind of give up on them.
Yep.
So
and
we'll see.
I enjoy to see chaos in college football, and this is the only game that I see that will cause a lot of chaos. So that's kind of why I went with Kansas, because we know it's college football. Something's going to happen. And I just feel like it's going to be Kansas. And then the last one is interesting. Okay, you maybe wonder why Clemson and Syracuse. Well, Syracuse is undefeated.
Yeah, 5-0, 4-0.
So, and then Clemson, they're not Clemson that they used to be, but they're still a pretty good team. And they're going to Syracuse, which could be a hard place to play. But Clemson, since the Duke game, they've been quietly doing better. They haven't. They lost last week in overtime, but Florida State's a top 5 team. So I think Clemson is not as bad as people think they are.
Yeah, I think the head coach at Syracuse is still Dino Babers.
Yeah,
and it seems like every year since Dino Babers has been at Syracuse, they get to this point of the season and they're like 5-0 every year, and then the back half of their season, it's just like they go like
1-5,
2-4, 2-5, something.
Yeah, and you'll notice that might be why they're not ranked. It's because the voters know that every year this happens.
Yeah, and I don't blame them. I don't blame the voters. If Syracuse beats Clemson, I think you see Syracuse in the top 25, but I don't think you see him like 18 or not. I think you see him like 20, where Kansas is right now. That's what I think. So we'll see. Yeah,
just some final thoughts. I'm gonna throw some stuff out there about Sam Pittman. He mentioned in his press conference about he was having to be a counselor to his players due to Twitter and social media about so-called fans going after them, and they were going after him as well. We got to realize no one wanted this Arkansas job a couple years ago. You had former players telling Hunter to go get Sam Pittman because he's all about Arkansas.
Yeah.
Pittman realistically was probably the fifth option. No one wanted this job after Chad Morris. So, I mean, me and Ashton, we will get mad at Sam Pittman, but we do not hate we don't hate the guy. Okay, he's kind of turned Arkansas football around. I mean, I know we're not great, but we didn't win an SEC game for 2 years, and we just went down to Baton Rouge and lost to the best team in the SEC by 3. I think the criticism of Sam Pittman needs to just stop.
So I'm gonna kind of throw myself under the bus a little bit here. I remember at one point in time, I was definitely one of the negative comments, one of the big negative comments about Chad Morris back in the day, and I said, "Fire Chad Morris, fire him." In retrospect, it probably shouldn't have been like that, uh, because now I look at it much differently. It seems like now that as a former coach, when people attack your players, who ultimately, if we get that right down to it, these are 18, 19, 20, they're kids. Yeah, they may be making more money because of the NILs, but they're still kids. If someone says something about you on social media as a kid, you read it, you see it. You're not gonna to delete your apps. You're gonna read everything that they say, and it does get to you. And like Sam Pittman said, say what you want to about him as a coach. Say what you want to say, but like I think I questioned Sam Pittman's judgment on some plays. Yeah, but I've never attacked his character. You don't attack him as far as like. I mean, I don't understand people who go out of their way to attack the way a guy looks. That's just odd to me.
Yep.
To
Especially behind a keyboard.
Yeah, behind a keyboard, right? And or even it just doesn't make any sense. Uh, if you want to get it right down to it, if you think about it, my opinion doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter, Blake. Here we are on a podcast, and we just kind of say what we think is best, or what we perceive to be the state of Arkansas football in its current state. But Sam Pittman doesn't give a rip about my opinion or your opinion. He's making the big bucks. I'm not. And at the end of the day, I may not agree with it, but I'm not going to attack his character. That's just not right to me.
Yeah, especially he said it in his press conference. These kids have to deal with more than he had to as a kid, basically because of social media, because they can hide behind a keyboard. Back in the day, if you had someone hating on you, they said it to your face. But
Yeah.
now they can just hide behind a screen or a keyboard and
Yeah.
get
So
away
I
with
think
it.
moving forward, if whoever watches this, I think we need to do better as fans. Uh, yeah, do our guys make ignorant mistakes, false starts, holding? Yeah, but you know, we need to be very conscientious of the things that we say because these kids read it.
And we could me and you could go to someone's job and say, well, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right. I mean, it's football right now is the kid's job. So I mean, if they're not doing it right, that's okay. Okay.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, Blake. Did I want Brady Latham out of the game against BYU there at the end? Yeah, I did. I wanted him out. I didn't think his head was in the right place.
Mhm.
I think he was really just shook in the situation. He was tired, but just because I want him out of the game doesn't mean the kid's not a good football player.
Yeah, and I know you're not on Twitter, but after that game, after the BYU game, they were like, I hope 62 never wears an Arkansas jersey again. And you think about he's put in 4 years of work, and for him to after the game, knowing he made mistakes, to sit down at his locker, open his phone up, and has all these tweets at him talking about how he should never play again. I mean, it's got to be tough on him.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree with
Yeah.
you, Blake.
But
100% agree.
The basketball team had their first practice today, and Musselman is actually meeting with the media right now. So next week we'll have some basketball talk. So October, I think they scrimmage toward the end of October. So basketball season is upon us. Football season's in what are we 4 games in, so we're a third of the way through the season. So
Yep.
it'll go by fast. So
But enjoy it while you can. Enjoy it while you can.
yeah, enjoy the game this weekend. It's 11 o'clock kickoff. Jerry's World. Hopefully we get the big W, and hopefully get some momentum going into next week. All right, any more closing statements?
No, enjoy your weekend, everybody, and woo pig.
Yeah. All right, for Blake, that's Ashton. We will see you next week.